here is expecting a story of an oppressed Pakistani woman struggling to succeed, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, that's not my story. And, you know, I've had a very positive experience as an entrepreneur. And so I'm here to tell you about an unexpected journey of a mother and a daughter, a journey filled with persistence, warmth, love, and a dream come true. So the girl you see second from the left is my mother, Lal Majid. She was born in Peshawar, Pakistan. She was never really good at school. She struggled. She didn't do well. Her parents always worried for her. She was one of 8 siblings, and her brother had become an accountant. Her sister was becoming a doctor. And her parents thought, you know, she's not really going to do anything, and we should find her a suitable boy and get her married. And they didn't know she had dyslexia. It was undiagnosed. So at 17, she was married to my father, and she moved to Karachi, where she didn't know anybody. For the next 25 years, she devoted her, she was a housewife, and she devoted her life to raising her kids, and she did it as she knew best. When my brother went to college, and when I was almost ready to go to college, she felt unfulfilled. She said, you know, I want to do something, and she was very creative. So she's really good at gift wrapping and floral decor. And she said, let me start something from the house. And she started doing floral arrangements for people and wedding giveaways and engagement announcements and the likes. As she was doing that, she saw, okay, the packaging is wonderful, but the contents aren't that great. There's no great local chocolate. There's mithai, which is locally available, but no chocolate. And somebody said to her, you know, you should bring your own chocolate brand. And she said, yeah, why not? I should bring my own chocolate brand. She was just that kind of person. And so she didn't know anything about chocolate. This is a very risky proposition. Nobody else is doing it. You're a housewife. Like, why are you going to do it? And, but, you know, she had a dream. When she was a little girl, she had read Hansel and Gretel. And she had always dreamt of owning a house of chocolate. And so with that dream in tow, off she went. Today, that house of chocolate is Lals. Fast forward 15 years later, she has established this company. We are a nationwide company in Pakistan. We employ over 100 people. We sell over 140 products. We're a very well recognized brand name. And all the major corporations in Pakistan are clients of Lals. Not bad for this girl from Peshawar, right? Like, how did she do it? So I believe what made my mother successful at achieving her dream was this unique combination of her personality traits. Each one had its share of value in the achievement of her goals. And in that, I found a leader in the most unlikely place, the place that I had least expected it, in my mother. Yeah. How did she do it? So she is a doer, right? Like, the woman is a doer. You know, my friends, when I was making my presentation, they said, you should think of better words. And I said, there is no better word. This is what she is. It didn't matter to her that she had no import knowledge. She had no chocolate industry connections. She didn't know anything about retail. She simply jumped into the deep end. She said she got in touch with somebody at Godiva, and she said, you know, I want to bring chocolates to Pakistan. Do you want to come here? And they said, we're not interested in going to Pakistan. And then they told her the franchise fees, and she said, okay, I don't have the money for this. And okay, so what do I do? And somebody said, well, you know, in the UAE, there are good chocolate manufacturers. Go talk to them. So she said, okay, I think I'll have to bring my own brand in. And I was just graduating from college, so I was coming back from Boston. I stopped in Dubai, and I met her there. And she said, okay, let's go and look for chocolate suppliers. Okay. She said, you know, she doesn't trust her own taste buds. So she says, okay, you try it, and if it's good, then we'll talk to them. So we literally went to chocolate shops, and I tried chocolates, and at one of them, I said, oh, this is really great. And she talked to them, and she said, will you contract manufacture for us? And in that process, we located a family-owned company, a small one, and they said, yes, we'll make it for you. So this is how we started. She didn't know anything about retail, so she asked people she knew, where's the right place to get a retail shop? This is my budget. This is what I can afford. And somebody told her, oh, the left side of the road is really good. Don't go to the right side of the road. And she said, okay, I'm going to the left side of the road. And there we are on the left side of the road. And so we opened the shop, you know, very little knowledge about chocolate. I still remember our first day, you know, I'm ashamed to admit it, but somebody came to us and they said, what's the difference between white chocolate and milk chocolate? And I had no clue. That night I went home and I Googled it. We'd already opened this shop by then, yes. And anyway, so we opened the shop. She would spend her days at this shop, and she said, you go to the office and you do finance and marketing. I said, I don't know anything about accounting. I'd studied political science, and I had wanted to be a lawyer. And this is not something I'd never wanted to work with my mother, but she convinced me somehow, and I'm still here. And so she said, you go to accounts and you do this, and the bookkeeper would bring me these vouchers, and I would stare at them like one would look at an alien. I didn't know what they meant, but that's how she operated. She threw us in the deep end just the way she did with herself. And today I'm the CEO of the company, and I manage far more than the finance. So we started this shop, and we discovered, okay, retail is really hard. There were days when there were no clients at all. Nobody walked in. And so we thought, okay, corporate gifts is a great way, to bring in bulk sales. We found out from somebody that the largest bank in the country wanted to order 30,000 boxes of mithai, of sweets. And we said, okay, my mother said, well, we have to get it. We have to go and get this order. We have to convince them that it has to be chocolates. And we were really excited. We didn't even think that, okay, this order is worth more than double the investment in our company. We probably can't even fulfill it. But she said, you have to go to Lahore. So I went to Lahore, and she arranged a meeting with the CEO. The CEO knew somebody who knew somebody she knew, and she arranged a meeting. And I went to meet him, and I didn't get the order, but I learned so much from it. And one of those things was, don't leave your chocolate samples in the trunk of the car in a hot day, because melted chocolate doesn't sell, But yeah, so that's how that happened. One of the things about her is that she's persistent, right? Now, this French macaroon, this is the epitome of persistence. I'll tell you why. In 2007, my brother and I went to Paris, and a friend made us try this delicacy. So it's a French pastry. It's really difficult to make, really, really difficult to make. It requires armed meal. It has to be prepared. Eggs have to be aged, and there's humidity issues. But we tasted it, and we said, nobody in Pakistan does this. We need to do this. Now, it only has a shelf life of 5 days, so you can't import it. So we came back, we brought it for her. Now you have this lady, she's great at decorating, she's running this business, but she's not a chef, she's not a pastry chef, she's not a chocolatier, she's never made any of these things. And she says, yeah, I can do it. And so I print out some recipes for her. She has a learning disability, right? So it's difficult for her to read, but she has me read it to her, and she tries, and she fails, right? The French macaroon that we ate in Paris, and what the cookies, the rock cookies that I'm getting in our kitchen are not at all alike. But she doesn't give up. She keeps trying. She wakes up at 6 a.m. because she heard that that's when the humidity is the lowest. That doesn't work. She tries at midnight because that's when her kitchen is the coolest. She brings a French book from somewhere and says, please translate this because this might be the right recipe. She did everything possible. She kept at it for over a year. Today, the French macaroon is one of our best-selling products. I think that the reason she was able to do this is because she didn't suffer from some kind of structural paralysis. There was no, I can't do this because I have not been trained to do so. She was free. She was free to think as she pleased. So she's very innovative, as I mentioned, right? So once she conquered the French macaroon, she said, oh, okay, I'm going to keep baking. I'm going to keep baking. And I said, look, we're a chocolate shop. We're not a bakery. So no, just make these macaroons and, make chocolates. But she kept baking. She kept baking. She would bake pastries and cakes, and she would send them to people. And she baked so much that I had to open a bakery, because if I didn't, the cost of that produce would get me down, So we went from being a chocolate shop to a patisserie, all because she wouldn't stop innovating. And she's fearless, as this is why I put up this picture. She said to me, a few years ago, she said, I really want to do a pastry book, a recipe book of chocolates, and nobody in Pakistan has done a great book. And I said, yeah, no, that would be really cool. That would be a really great lifetime achievement thing. We should do that, in a few years. She said, no, I want to do it now. And I said, listen, there are people who are professionally trained in pastry. They have decades of experience. And they're not dyslexic, and they can write. So those are the kind of people who do books. But okay, we'll do it. We'll hire an author one day. We'll do it. And she said, yeah, okay, okay. So in 2012, we had a particularly rough year, both personally and in business. Well, my brother, who's in the audience somewhere, he had a heart attack that year. And he's very young, and he almost died, and it was a big deal. Like it took us some time to recover from that. At the same time, we were going from being a chain of small chocolate shops, about 400 square feet each, to becoming this 4,500 square foot patisserie. We were going from being mere retailers of chocolate to being manufacturers of chocolate, of gelato, of baked goods, and having a cafe. So there was a lot on our plate, and emotionally we had, taken quite a bit of a toll. And around that time, a small publisher came to her and said, would you like to do a book? She said, of course. I said, look, a book is great, but let's do the book next year. We have this patisserie to open in a month. And I think she just ignored me. And you know what? She wrote the book. And she wrote it in about 2 months' time. Deliciously Yours is the name of her book. The next year, her book won the Gourmet Award for the best pastry book in the world. It beat France and Italy. These are the Oscars of the book world. She hates me because I said you can go to China for the award ceremony, we're probably not going to win. And so that's somebody else in the picture. That's the publisher who went to pick it up. But she hates me for it. That's my mother, Tal. If you ask anybody in our team what drives them, they'll say it's Lal Auntie. She inspires everybody at work, and she drives them because she's there for them. She's the kind of person who's invested in their lives, both emotionally and financially. She listens to them. She's there for them. She'll go out of her way to reward them. Just 2 days ago, she tipped one of the bakers because he made a really beautiful cake, and that's great. But as the CEO, it becomes problematic because you have 90 people, and how many who you're going to tip and when, and we have to follow a certain structure. But that's how she does it. I remember 2 years ago, we had this restaurant manager. His name was Sharon, the young boy, and on his way home from work late at night, he was picked up by the police. They're just harassing him, and he came to work the next day a little bit beaten up. And my mother saw him, and she said, "What happened?" And he told her. And she said, "Come with me." She got in her car. She went to that police station, and she gave it to the officers on duty. And she said, "I'm going to report each and every one of you." She took their names down, and she did that. She stands up for her people, and they stand up for her. So I never pegged my mother as a success story, right? Like, I didn't take her seriously. I thought, okay, she's not properly educated. I didn't think her business was serious. I never wanted to join it. But she is the most inspiring woman. She's the most hardworking person I know. No matter how hard I work, I know that she is working harder than me. She has these amazing qualities, and she inspires people every day. And I can't get over the fact that I found a leader in my own mother.